Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 236. I am Brendan. UFC Fight Night, Jan versus Dvalishvili. I don't know why I'm doing that. Anyway, we're going to cover that. Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan. We're going to cover the main card here. We are going to cover each fight on the main card, break them down round by round. Alexandr Volkov versus Alexander Romanov. Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann, Jonathan Martinez versus Saeed Nurmagomedov, and Mario Bautista versus Giudo Cannetti. And I think Vitor, Petrino. Anyway, we're going to cover those here. If you're looking for the prelims, this is the next video. If you're looking for the Bellator video, that's the last one. So, real quick, if you like fight breakdowns, you like podcasts about MMA, you like MMA in general, subscribe to the channel so you know the next video is coming out because I do all that stuff here. 2 to 3 videos every single week breaking down the fights from the weekend. All right, let's get it started. Holy crap. What a main event. Now, let me tell you. This did not have the insane slobber knocker, right? Sorry. By the way, if you're looking for a specific fight breakdown, it's in the timestamps down below. I apologize in advance. I was just doing some woodworking. I'm working on a project. Just something really simple, but I was doing some sanding out in the garage, and I guess my mask wasn't on tight enough, so I got a ton of sawdust in my lungs, apparently, or in my sinuses because they're backed up. So if that's why I'm sniffling, it's annoying. Sorry. Focus. Okay. So, Merab Dvalishvili, what the hell, man? Now, this isn't something we don't know. Right, we know this about him. We know that he can keep this pressure. We know that he has insane cardio. We know that he can do this. And I was asked by a coworker earlier this week, like, how did I think this main event was going to go? This is kind of how I thought it was going to go. If there's ever like a for sure thing in MMA, like one where I would have put money on, I would have put money on this fight. I would have put it on going to a decision, and I would have put upwards of like. I don't know how much money, but I would have been comfortable putting a significant amount of money on it. Now, I didn't because I don't bet on sports. I usually don't. I'm not a big gambler. It's not something I do. I have a very addictive personality. It's not something I'm interested in. All right. So, real quick. If you think this fight was boring, I understand. If you want slobber knockers, I understand. But for me, I can see the difference between a fight like this and the crap that we had from Bellator from last night. With the grappling exchanges over there. This fight was nonstop action. Merab had an insane amount. What do you have? 48? 49 takedown attempts. Almost had 50. 49. Gosh darn it. Ugh. So, let's just start with round 1, shall we? Merab was on him early, getting a momentary takedown. That's the tail of the fight. So anytime I say a takedown, usually it was momentary. He didn't hold him down for very long, hence why there were so many attempts and so many takedowns. I mean, he did only land 11 of the 49, so his percentage was real low, but he just kept going. Petr was warned for his holding his fingers out. They were attacking each other's calves hard. Petr was doing a really great job avoiding the takedowns, but the pressure was nonstop. So Petr was warned about his fingers. Again, Jan attempted a takedown, and Merab reversed it, did some damage, finishing the round yanking on the neck. That was a 10-9 round for me. So if we look at the striking numbers here, 22-13 in favor of Dvalishvili. We had the control time of 1 minute and 10 seconds. We had the 1 takedown out of 8, and his control of the octagon was, in my opinion, just about 100%, just nonstop forward pressure. So, second round, the pressure is nasty. The low kicks from both guys were landing hard. Merab hurt Petr Yan with that low kick. And then Petr started shaking out his arms like his arms were filled with blood. He's getting a little bit of lactic acid buildup in there. So, the fatigue is starting to set in, probably from defending all those takedowns. Merab got the double leg takedown this time. Merab threw a kick and fell onto his back. Jan trying to hold him down, just doing nothing with it. The pressure was starting to break Jan's game apart. He just didn't have an answer for it. It seemed like I don't know what his plan was. let's get through these rounds first. I'll talk about it at the end. So, Merab gets another takedown. There's another round for Merab, doing tons of damage, having control, and just, in my opinion, he had pretty much everything in his favor. 20-18. You look at the striking numbers here: 35-18 in favor of Dvalishvili, of attempting 80 strikes, right? Attempting 62 in the first round. Just the amount of offense he's trying to throw out there, regardless of whether or not it hits. 43% or 32%, 35%. The percentage at which he's landing the strikes doesn't necessarily mean he's bad at striking or he's good at striking. It's not an indicator of those things. I've said this before in the past. For those of you guys who have heard me say this stuff, go ahead and skip over the next minute because I'm going to break it down again. Putting out, because people will look at this stuff. It'll often be brought up by pundits, right? I've heard it in boxing. I've heard it especially in MMA. You'll hear it on the sidelines. You'll hear it in the commentary team. They say, look at the percentage at which he's landing at. 62% now, or 72. He's landing 72% of his significant strikes. So if that happens, that's a good thing as far as your striking attempts. But if you and your opponent both land the exact same amount of strikes with the exact same amount of significance, right? You and I, let's say we're both throwing down and you and I both land 10 strikes. They're the exact same power, exact same everything. And then you attempt 30 and I attempt 10. I landed 100% of my strikes. What a great showing of my accuracy, my precision, my game plan, all that stuff. You win because you are attempting offense more than I'm attempting offense. So in this case, he's attempting 80 goddamn strikes. 80. Significant strikes. That's striking at distance. Anyway, Petr was not looking too bad to start off round 3. He was swinging hard, staying on the feet early, more pressure from Merab, just staying on him. Merab controlling that round again, so it's pretty crazy. I mean, he does this all the time, but it's just beautiful. The amount of pressure he can put on, it's impressive. He had 1 minute and 34 seconds of control time in that round. 14 takedown attempts in that round. That is the peak of his takedown attempts. One thing that's interesting about this round is he only landed 15 strikes, and he still outstruck Jan. But like I said, Jan did a better job in that round. That striking totals were very close in that round. And then we move into round 4. Merab runs across the cage to start the round. He's on the body lock, gets another takedown. Merab peppering him with shots. Jan still firing back, just not landing as well. 36 takedown attempts from Merab, but at this point, holy crap, Merab ends the round hanging on the neck, and it's a 40-36 fight, in my opinion. Just a blowout so far. And then in this 4th round, we had 38-21 significant strikes in favor of Merab yet again. And then the last round, Merab got the body lock takedown again and another one. He's on a double leg, smiling and nodding to someone in the crowd, talking to them from outside the cage. Merab landed a huge right hand and a great low kick. Holy fucking shit. I love this guy. I love watching him fight. 50-45, if not 50-44, if you want to give one of these rounds a 10-8. I wouldn't necessarily go there, but it just felt like there was so much pressure and so much offense going one direction. It didn't seem it was even at all. Jan's right eye was pretty much shut. So, now let's get into a little bit more. So, if you think that, like I said at the beginning, if you think this is boring, totally understand. Mother of pearl. I totally understand that. But there is a big difference between this kind of grappling, this kind of wrestling exchange, this kind of stuff. There, in fact, in the Nikita, we'll get to it later on this main card, Ryan Spann versus Nikita Krylov. A little bit of a different grappling style, different grappling exchanges going on, still very interesting. It's when someone's sitting on someone and holding, right? Like the Saeed Nurmagomedov, he did that in this on this card, and he was kind of sitting there holding and not doing anything with it for significant portions of the time. That's the crap I don't like. It's not that I think that it's unfair. I think it's plenty fair. I think you have to deal with it. You want the guy off your back, then get off your or you want to get off your back when he's holding you down, then get off your back. You have to work out of that position. He did the work to get you there. I'm not a fan of it as far as watching it, especially if the guy's not doing anything. But you got to do something. This is not that. This was way more entertaining. This guy just nonstop goes up and down, just crazy. As far as I'm concerned, Merab Dvalishvili is probably the best fighter in this division. I don't think I've said that outright before. He should be ranked. They'll probably put him as the number 2 contender. I don't think they're going to put him ahead of Sean O'Malley because Aljamain Sterling is supposed to fight Henry Cejudo, and then Sean O'Malley is the number 1 contender, so he'll fight whoever wins that one. If Cejudo can beat Sterling and Sterling doesn't get a title shot, like immediate rematch, and then Sean O'Malley fights him, then now maybe Merab can jump in there, but I doubt it. So Merab, obviously, he has a relationship with Sterling, and it's hard. It's hard on the outside here, us commenting and trying to judge Merab's decision to, not ask for the title against Aljamain Sterling because they train together. But Merab has been, just in interviews and after fights and stuff like that, he's been very open as to why that won't happen. This is not just a normal training partner relationship that they have, right? He calls him his brother. He says, he wouldn't be in this country. He wouldn't have the opportunities. He wouldn't be the fighter he is today without Aljamain Sterling. Merab is basically saying, like, I don't exist. I don't have what I have right now if it's not for Aljamain Sterling. That's why I'm not going to fight him. It's not because we work in the same training camp or we've trained together a couple times. No. It's much different than that. I respect that. And if that ends up hurting his career, I understand why people would say that's stupid. I'm hoping that Aljamain reciprocates and, gives Dvalishvili his fair share of the cut when it comes to being a training partner and that kind of stuff when he's training for helping him train for a championship fight. And then when eventually Sterling does move up to fight Volkanovski or whoever has the title up there at featherweight, then now we can talk about Merab fighting for the bantamweight title. So I'm less judgmental of it. I think he's a grown man and he can make his own decisions. I think he's been very clear as to why he's making this decision, and I respect that. As far as Petr Yan, where does he go from here? Well, I think he has some interesting fights available to him. So I think him versus Marlon Chito Vera is very interesting. I think that one's probably one of the best ones to make. I think him versus Dominic Cruz. No, we've already seen that one. Yeah, I don't want to jump too. I think Marlon Vera is probably the best fight to watch him in. Yeah, that's what I would do. We've already seen him against Sandhagen. And I wasn't even doing treated wood today. Wasn't even sanding treated wood. It was, it's nice maple. Unreal. Anyway, I think, oh yeah, also, this loss on Dvalishvili's record here is total crap. This Ricky Simone thing, this is crap. This did not happen. You look at the time that it happened, it did not happen. He was awake when the fight ended, and the fight was over, and then the choke was still in, and that's when he went out, was after the fight. Okay, well then, that's like knocking a guy out after the fight ended. That's not how that works. Great win for him. I'm excited to watch. I do think Dvalishvili is the best. He's the best bantamweight in the world. I really do. I think he's been that way for a while now. I don't know. He might be beating Aljamain Sterling in camp, and he might be beating him. So he knows that if they go into there, like, he could beat him and be the champion, but he has too much respect for him to do that. So I hope he gets his money elsewhere, and I hope he gets a performance of the night bonus. Moving on. Alexander Romanov versus Alexander Volkov. Boy, Romanov looked like absolute dog crap. He came in at 262 pounds or something. He just looked fat as shit, just out of shape. And he didn't get this. He didn't get the one takedown. Romanov was having issues with the first takedown. And then Volkov grabbed the fence. Honestly, there were so many fence grabs this whole night. Somebody actually got a point deduction. A fence grab in two separate fights directly led to them not being in a bad position, and in my opinion, allowed those people to get wins, including Volkov. Because we don't know, maybe if Romanov gets that takedown, he can keep Volkov down and ground and pound. But Romanov just looks like a shell of himself. He does not look right. I think DC was onto something. He said that he doesn't look the same ever since his last fight and that loss that he had to Marcin Tybura. Man, he had a lot of fights. He won a lot of fights in a row and wasn't even ranked. How is that possible? Oh, he was ranked. Okay, he was number 14. No, he's probably not going to be ranked now. Getting smoked like that by Volkov. Anyway, Volkov kicked him to the body and then landed a right hand. Romanov was on the ground. Volkov was trying to take the back, landed some ground and pound, got some finish. Got a finish like that. Romanov just looked like crap. I don't want to keep dogging on the guy, but Volkov's still sticking around, dude. He's got that crap loss to Derek Lewis. He's got the loss to Curtis Blades, in which Curtis Blades just controlled him the whole time. I'm a Blades fan. He's got the loss to Cyril Gahn. Just getting outstruck by him. And then he got submitted by Tom Aspinall. So, these are all top contenders that he's losing to. It's not like he's losing to nobodies. He's got a win over Rosenstruck, a win over Romanov now, a win over Tybura, Alistair Overeem back in the day. These are all good wins. And honestly, and he beat the crap. Well, no, he had a competitive. Yeah, Greg Hardy made a good showing for himself in that fight. Volkov's here to stay. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. I think he's got the skills at heavyweight, which is in short supply. So I think he can stick around for a little bit, especially with the grapplers. Like if you find some more grapplers, like I think Volkov's going to give him some real problems if Romanov can't get him down. And he had Curtis Blades gasping for air at the end of that fight. So moving on. Ryan Spann versus Nikita Krylov. Great fight. This is another one of those grappling ones because I'm going to show you the striking numbers. There's not a lot. 7-5 in favor of Krylov, but that's not the story. So obviously, Krylov ends up getting the win here, but Spann landed some really hard shots early on. Spann was in on an anaconda choke. So I know, okay, for those of you out there who think I'm stupid or whatever, fine. But I finally understand the difference between an anaconda and a darce now. But the commentary team doesn't. They kept calling it a darce. A darce is when the figure four, right? So this motion. So the figure four is on the neck. An anaconda is when the figure four is underneath the armpit, and the neck is in the crotch of your arm. So he went for an anaconda, not a darce. So I will not call them all darces anymore. He didn't get it. He switched to guillotine. Didn't get that either. Krylov kept the body lock, took him down a couple times. Then he went for a guillotine. Then they switched, and they switch again, and they switch again. They kept reversing each other. It was fantastic. I love seeing that stuff. It was a little sloppy, but I say a little sloppy, meaning that for pure jiu-jitsu guys, if they were watching this, be like, oh, that's basic. That's day one stuff. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Okay, before you poo-poo it, remember that they're also having to deal with getting punched in the face. So slightly different, and also these are bigger guys, so the skill level, generally speaking, goes down the heavier the guys get when it comes to these high-level skills, especially when it comes to grappling. Spann got out of some stuff, but then he flips around. He flipped around. Krylov ended up on his back. He slips off the back. Darn it. He slipped off the back, but then put him in, and then put him right into a triangle. It was freaking awesome. I love seeing it. That was fantastic. It was a great finish for Krylov. I guess Spann, even training, doesn't necessarily isn't a world beater. So let's cool our jets on that, shall we? Krylov's racked off 3 good wins here against Alexandr Gustafsson. That was sad. Volkov, okay. And then Ryan Spann now. 3 good wins for him. He hasn't had a win streak since 2015 is when he started his last win streak ended in 2016. 7 years ago. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. 7 years is a long time in MMA, especially in the highest level. So, I don't think Krylov is necessarily going to be the champion at 205, but seeing Spann kind of get sent back right here, oh, man. Oh, good grief with the sneezes. Ryan Spann, I think he's still really good, but maybe this is one of those blemishes on the new part of his career as he's improving, and it's going to turn out that he's going to be some crazy good fighter, or he's still a known quantity and he's just going to lose to more skilled guys as he gets in the upper part of this division. So, maybe we read too much into his Dominic Reyes and Ian Cutelaba wins. I don't think so. I thought he did. I do think he's better than he used to be. I didn't buy into the now I'm training and he's going to be a completely different guy. I don't think that works when you're 32 or 31 years old. And you can change. I don't think you can rewrite your entire life story by that point. All right. Jonathan Martinez versus Said Nurmagomedov. This was a fun fight. Not because of Nurmagomedov. Early on, Said landed some good stuff, but as the fight went on, he got tired. He looked a lot like his other counterpart over there, in from Dagestan. Just he doesn't have the cardio to go to the distance. So Said was landing more effectively early, finding his range, even finishing with a question mark kick at one point. It was beautiful. His striking is really tight. They tangled legs at one point. Said ended up getting the takedown, took the back kind of, but Martinez got back up. There was an elbow in the clinch from Martinez that's made Said's nose bleed. First round was mostly Nurmagomedov's, and I gave it to him easy peasy. You look at the significant striking numbers, 21-13 in favor of Nurmagomedov. I easily gave that round to him. Said on the takedown early. Martinez hit a sweep, got back up. It was beautiful. He elevated his hips and got out from underneath him. It was fantastic. Said really does not like trading with him, and he wanted to get another takedown, even though I felt like he was landing the better shots when they were up to this point, midway through this second round. But he just did not want to trade with him. And you kind of figured it out because as this went down, Said started to slow down and he was tired. Martinez was landing that low kick with some real power. It still might have been Said's round for the damage he landed early, but the cage control, and Martinez didn't really have the cage control from Martinez. He did have a little bit of damage on the side. And if you look at the striking numbers here, it's really close. So it's 16-15 in favor of Nurmagomedov. But if you look at the control time, Martinez had over 2 minutes of control time. And I think that's what made the difference. It was a really close round. If you gave it to Nurmagomedov, I am not upset about it. I was wishy-washy. I almost thought that could be Said's round. I thought he did more damage initially. But then I thought about it before I wrote down my score, and I'm like, when they were in the clinch, he was landing some good stuff, so maybe I could give it to him. Martinez was holding his guard up high, but Said slipped something through, got Martinez down to the mat. Martinez threw up a triangle and tried for an armbar. He didn't get it, but Said ended up on the back of Martinez, and Martinez just stood up. That saved the fight for him, to be honest with you. Martinez staying in the clinch and landing a ton of elbows. He finished the round unloading. I gave it to him. Said only held when he was on top, he did not land a lot of damage. In fact, he was in a submission attempt. So if you look at the striking numbers in this last round, 10-10. Yes, Nurmagomedov attempted more, right? But all other things were not equal. So the other things that played into this last round were the control time, right? So Saeed had more control time, but if you look at the position, he was in a submission attempt. Honestly, if you gave this to Nurmagomedov, I totally understand. I'm not upset about it. It makes sense to me that you would do that. Let's actually look at the scorecards here. So, I'm curious as to how the judges scored that one. All right, so yep, they're all over the place. Okay, good. Oh wait, no, they're not all over the place. They're all unified. They're exactly what I said. Adelaide Bird and Junichiro Kamijo, but Mike Bell, which is everybody loves Mike Bell. So, I mean, everybody scored it the same. They all scored the last 2 rounds for Martinez. So they scored it exactly how I did. I don't know if I was right on that one, to be honest. I'd have to go back and watch it, but you do not get to do that, right? Judges don't get to do that. You can't make this argument later and like watching the replays or going back and counting strikes. You can't do that and say, oh, look, I went back and watched this 10 times. I think he won it. Fine, but you couldn't do that when you're scoring it live. That's not how this works. So great win for Martinez. I think he's that guy, dude. He's a tough test for a lot of people. Like he kicks so freaking hard and he can grapple too. Whew. Mario Bautista versus Guido Cannetti. This fight was interesting while it lasted. So Cannetti had some of the hardest. He has some hard kicks too. So he kicks so freaking hard. He's like he's trying to kick a tree over every single time he throws it. Mario got an early takedown. Cannetti did a great job to get back to his feet. Even got a body lock takedown of his own. Then Mario took him back down, and then Mario got on the back. It was the standing body triangle, got the takedown again, and then finally got the rear naked choke finish. So one of the things DC pointed out is that Cannetti lost concentration for a moment. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. He might have just looked up for some reason, but he looked up, and then when he did that, that's when Mario threw the rear naked choke in and got it. So great win for him. I think, dude, let's look at Mario Bautista's record. Why do I think he's nuts? He is nuts. Yeah, I think it's a time to step up in competition for Bautista. He looks the part. He's got great. I mean, he's not getting any younger. He's 30 years old. It's time to go now. Jay Perrine, Brian Kelleher, Benito Lopez. That was a crazy one. And then Guido Cannetti. His last loss was to Trevin Jones back in 2021. And a loss to Corey Sandhagen. There's no shame in that. That was his UFC debut. No shame in that at all. Okay. Yeah, step up in competition for him, man. I'd throw him in the fire. See if he can hang. I really mean it. He's good, man. All right, let's talk about some absolute chaos. Just total slop. Oh, Vitor Petrino versus Anton Turkalj. Yeah, it's Turkalj, but there's a J. So, this fight was a slop fest. If you didn't, I mean, it was kind of fun to watch because there's constant movement. So I'm not gonna say it was boring, but it's one of those ones I'm like, yikes. Petrino got the takedown. They got right back up, and then Turkalj got a momentary takedown. Petrino is throwing wide, huge shots, and Anton caught him with a cup to the knee, or caught him in the cup with a knee at one point. Petrino landed some giant looping hooks and huge straight rights and knocked him down. Tried to follow him and then ended up getting up-kicked himself. He gets up-kicked and freaking he gets staggered. He almost got knocked out by trying to dive into the guard and gets kicked. But that round was definitely Vitor's 10-9 in my opinion. 24 significant strikes, and those were hard significant strikes to 10 of Anton's. Second round, Anton started the round with a great body lock, or great body kicks. He took more big looping shots from Petrino and then gets taken down, then got back up. Anton getting the takedown and takes it back, but then gets reversed. Petrino with a slam takedown, but right back up again. Anton uses the fence to get back up. Total bullshit. He used it multiple times, grabbed the fence, all nuts. He did not win. There's another guy who won via fence grab. Anton rocked Petrino for a second for a second in this fight. It was a total slop fest. I don't know. This second round, the first half was Petrino's. He landed some really good stuff, but the rest of the round was kind of 50-50, and then Anton ended up rocking him at the end of the round, so I called it 19-19. If you look at the striking numbers, they are 10-10, so it's as close as it can get there. As far as the control time, Anton had the control time, so that's where I went with that one. Third round, Anton dragged him down, got the back, the body triangle, and Petrino just reversed it again. Like, they just went back and forth with sloppy groundwork. Petrino ends up getting the high amplitude takedown. I gave it to Petrino, but if you look at the striking numbers, Anton actually outstriked him in this last round, 13-5. It was the control time, and the control time was close. It was 212-159. So I understand why Petrino got it. Let's see. Did anybody give Petrino? Holy crap. They gave him all three judges gave him all 3 rounds. In fact, Brian Minner gave him a 10-8 in the first round. All right. It is what it is. Both guys are relatively new to the UFC, so it'll be fun to watch them going forward and see if they can clean up some of their sloppiness. But that is it for the main card. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. If you're looking for the prelims, that'll be in the next video. If you're looking for Bellator, it's in the last 2 videos, so I appreciate y'all. Let me know what you guys thought about the fights. Subscribe to the channel if you do like this stuff. If you feel like you want to watch some more, awesome. That way you'll know when the next video is coming out. So I'd really appreciate it if you did that. If you did like this video, hit the like button. Super appreciate that too. And I hope you guys have an amazing week. Thank you guys for spending your time here. I love y'all.